I used to believe that good intentions were enough, that if your heart was pure, people would see it and follow. But I learned painfully that even goodness needs armor. And sometimes to defend what's right, you have to get your hands dirty. My name is Mara Ellerin, and I founded the Emberlight Foundation, a small nonprofit for women rebuilding their lives after domestic abuse. At first, it was nothing more than a handful of volunteers, a few secondhand laptops, and a website I built myself. But we had something rare: trust. Women came to us with trembling voices and trembling hands, and we gave them jobs, housing, and a sense of worth again. The foundation became my entire world, and I made one fatal mistake. I trusted someone too easily. Her name was Sera Kallin. She came to me after one of our open events, tall and confident, the kind of woman who could turn a room's attention just by walking into it. She'd been a financial consultant, she said, left corporate life to do something meaningful. She had the kind of poise that made donors relax instantly. "I can help you scale," she told me, her tone smooth, persuasive. "Your heart's in the right place, but your books are chaos." She wasn't wrong. I was drowning in receipts and spreadsheets, juggling funding proposals and outreach programs. I was the kind of person who cared too much about the stories, the women, the lives, and too little about the numbers. So when Sera offered to volunteer as treasurer, I said yes. That yes became the slow undoing of everything I'd built. For the first 6 months, she was a miracle. Donations started flowing in faster than ever. She created a clean, polished financial report for every meeting, gave me color-coded dashboards that even I could understand. Donors loved her. The board loved her. I let her handle everything: grants, bank accounts, partnerships. And then, small things began to go wrong. A supplier emailed saying we hadn't paid an invoice. I forwarded it to Sera, and she brushed it off with a light laugh. "Oh, it's probably delayed in processing. I'll handle it." Then another vendor called, and another. When I asked to review the full account statement, she smiled and said, "Of course, but I'm finalizing the quarterly audit right now. I'll show you once it's tidy. No need to stress, Mara. No need to stress." The phrase echoed for weeks, soothing me, pacifying me, until one night I stayed late at the office alone. It was raining outside, a soft drizzle tapping against the windows. The world felt muted and gray. I'd gone there to print flyers for an upcoming fundraiser when the printer jammed. Frustrated, I reached into the cabinet for more paper, and that's when I found the envelope. It was unmarked, shoved between old files. Inside were photocopies of checks, donation checks, addressed to the Emberlight Foundation, but deposited into an account name I didn't recognize: Kallin Consulting Group. I froze. My first instinct was disbelief. Maybe it was an old consulting payment. Maybe there was an innocent reason. But deep down, I already knew. Sera wasn't helping us. She was bleeding us dry. The next morning, I didn't confront her. I watched her instead. She arrived with her usual immaculate composure: beige coat, silver watch, a smile that could sell a lie as easily as a promise. "Morning, boss," she said brightly, handing me a coffee. "Oat milk, no sugar, just how you like it." I thanked her. I even smiled. Inside, my hands shook as I took a sip, because now every gesture felt poisonous. That night, I started digging. The foundation's online banking was protected by two-factor authentication, her number, not mine. But I remembered something. Every month, she backed up financial reports to the shared drive. I opened them all, one by one, and found that they weren't just reports. They were edited PDFs. The numbers didn't match the original donation receipts. I cross-checked them against email confirmations, donor transfers, PayPal logs. In total, she'd siphoned $236,000, over half our active funds. Every time a survivor reached out for help, every apartment we couldn't fund, every broken promise to a woman who trusted me, all because Sera Kallin had decided our charity was her personal ATM. I sat there, in the glow of my laptop, heart breaking with quiet fury. There are certain moments in life that alter your moral compass forever. That night was one of them. By dawn, I'd made my decision. I wasn't going to confront her. I wasn't going to call the police. Not yet. Because if I went to the authorities without proof, she'd deny it all. She had the books, the passwords, the network. She'd make it look like I was the one mismanaging funds. No, I needed something airtight, something undeniable. So I became someone else, a version of myself I didn't know I was capable of being. For the next 3 weeks, I built a quiet trap. First, I created a fake donor, the Aurelia Trust, complete with a website and an email chain. I sent Sera a message from this foundation, offering a $50,000 partnership for women's leadership programs. She was ecstatic. "This is huge, Mara," she said, clutching her tablet. "We'll need to process it quickly to secure their commitment. I'll handle the paperwork personally." Of course she would. When the money arrived, a dummy transaction I set up through a test portal, she created a matching entry in our system. Then, like clockwork, she redirected it to her consulting account. I watched it happen in real time through mirrored logs I'd installed behind her login. Caught. The next step was exposure. I could have gone to the board, but that would have meant scandal, reputation damage, donor panic. The foundation could die before we ever rebuilt trust. So I decided to control the narrative. I reached out to a journalist I trusted, Kallin Dreer, a local reporter known for uncovering nonprofit frauds. I told him everything, but I made one crucial demand. You don't break the story about me. You break it with me. I wanted to speak first. I wanted to own my failure before anyone weaponized it against the women we helped. 2 weeks later, the article hit the front page of the Clarion Review. Founder exposes corruption inside her own charity. The woman who refused to stay silent. There I was, on the cover, not as a victim, but as a whistleblower. The story detailed every transfer, every falsified record, every stolen cent, and the steps I'd taken to uncover it. The evidence was irrefutable. Sera's name was everywhere. The next morning, she was arrested for embezzlement and wire fraud. I didn't attend the arraignment, but I heard later she pleaded not guilty, claimed it was a misunderstanding, claimed I'd set her up out of jealousy. But the evidence was ironclad. The forensic audit showed her fingerprints on every transaction. Her arrogance had been her undoing. For a while, I thought I'd feel vindicated, but instead, I felt hollow. Because the day after the story broke, donations plummeted. The foundation was tainted by association. Volunteers hesitated to return. The women we helped stopped calling. It felt like watching my life's work crumble again, until the emails started coming, hundreds of them, from women around the country, from donors, supporters, strangers. "Thank you for speaking out. This made me believe in honesty again. I'm donating because you refuse to hide the truth." Within 2 weeks, our donation count tripled. We rebuilt faster than I could have imagined, and this time, it wasn't just a charity, it was a movement. Months later, when I testified at Sera's sentencing, I looked at her, the woman who once shared my vision, who smiled over coffee as she betrayed everything we stood for. She didn't look remorseful. She looked humiliated. And when her eyes met mine, I didn't feel rage. I felt pity. Because for all her cleverness, she'd never understood what real power was. It wasn't in money or prestige or manipulation. It was in truth, and in the courage to face it, even when it shattered you first. After the trial, I walked out into the sunlight, the courthouse steps filled with reporters shouting my name. Someone asked, "Mara, do you think exposing her saved your foundation?" I paused, smiling faintly. "No," I said. Exposing her saved me. And then I turned and walked away, into the sound of camera shutters, into the life I'd reclaimed, step by step. That night, I returned to the Emberlight office, quiet now, but full of potential again. The city glowed outside the window, lights stretching into infinity. I opened my laptop, wrote a new mission statement, and added one final line at the bottom. No good cause should ever fear the truth. Then I closed the screen, turned off the lights, and let the darkness fold around me, not as a threat, but as a reminder. Because even light needs shadows to prove it's real.
You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.